All right, guys, happy Friday again. It is our last lesson for the week. Week 1 is done. And of course, we trust technology, and today the drawing feature is choosing not to work. Luckily, you still get to see my face. So we're going to have to work with the laser pointer today. I cannot draw on the screen, so we're going to have to modify it. So your ears are going to be very important today because I will not be adding to the slides. I will just be talking through them since the drawing feature does not want to work today. It already took a day off. All right, so let's get started. We are on day 3 of fraction number lines. It is one of the harder parts of fractions until we get to the next unit. But the more we practice, the more you guys will get comfortable. So we're going to do more examples today. Different independent practice sheet. I know yesterday and Wednesday we had similar worksheets. They were different problems though. Some of you thought it was the same worksheet, but they were different. So example number 1, let's get right to it. Which fraction is represented by the total length marked on the number line shown? Now, using my laser, the length is this black bar, okay? They are referring to this much this much has been covered on the number line. So let's say you were in a race and this was the starting point. You stopped your race right around here, okay? So that's the question. That's what they're asking is where did you stop? At what point did you stop on the number line? Well, before we can answer that, we always have to first see how many parts are on this number line to get our denominator, which is our bottom number. So when we count the parts, remember we're counting the space between each mark. We're not counting the marks. Because if we were to count the marks, we would say there's only 2. There's not 2 spaces here, there is 3. So we're counting from 0, jump, 1, 2, and 3. So 3 is our denominator. Denominator means down, guys. So that's the bottom number on the fraction. So the top number will represent your numerator, and that numerator will tell us what we are considering. What we're considering on this example is how far the total length of the bar is. So now we still follow my fancy laser pointer, guys. We're starting at the 0 mark and we're jumping from mark to mark. That's 1 and that is 2. So the fraction for example number 1 is 2, 3. Incorrect. Just want to check if you're listening. The correct way to say that is 2/3. 2/3, okay? The correct answer is 2/3. And if we would continue to jump and we get to the whole number, that means we jumped all 3 parts. That would be what? 3/3. Good job if you said that out loud. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so my head is kind of blocking. Sorry for my large head, but you'll see most of this slide. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to circle the number line. So we're choosing between these 3 number lines. And we're going to circle a number line that should be used to correctly plot the fraction 3/4. That's part 1. Part 2 is then once we decide which number line we are using, we're going to go ahead and plot that fraction. And that's what you see down here. Well, first, before we decide to plot it, we need to figure out which number line we are using. So we have to look at each number line, and we don't need to rush. We need to look. This first number line has how many parts? Well, if we start at 0, 1, 2. So this is a halves number line. There's only 2 parts to this whole. Again, wholes are from one number to the next. So right now we're only dealing with 0 to 1. So this whole is cut into 2 parts. So this is halves. What are we looking for though? Well, if we go off the denominator, which is right here, we're looking for fourths. or 4 parts. So this is a no-no. No, this is not the number line we want to use. Now let's look at the next one. Let's count again. This is the steps I want you to do every time. If you skip steps, you can misstep and make silly errors. So just do the steps. We count again. 1, 2, 3. This is one that can be a common mistake because you see 4 tick marks, and if you carelessly go quickly, you might say these are fourths and then just put 3/4 here. You would be incorrect. That's why I want you to make sure you are counting the space between. So if that's not correct, this is actually thirds, guys. This would be 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. You would know if you're doing your fractions correctly if you end up on the one whole number and it's the same number on the top and the bottom if we're at 1. If we're at another whole number like 2 or 3, it won't be that way. But if we're looking at 1, then that number at top, the numerator and the denominator should be the same if you are counting correctly on the number line. So that leaves us with our last one, which would be probably the correct one, but let's go ahead and check. We start at 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here's our final number line. We have 4 parts. And so now we need to find where 3/4 is. Now, a lot of you would like to put 3/4 somewhere in the space because I keep saying it's the space, it's the space. But when we want to plot it, we want to put it at the end of that space. So that's why when we plot, we go 1, 2, 3. So that 3/4 should be right here. I want you guys to comment, write me an email if you prefer me using this red laser pointer or using my drawings, which can be a little sloppy because I can make this bigger when I'm not using the drawings. But I'd like to hear your opinion. So if you have an opinion, shoot me an email. Do you prefer the red laser pointer or do you prefer me drawing? Sidebar, we'll go on and continue with the lesson. Slide 3. Okay, we're now looking at 4 different types of number lines. They are not labeled yet. They are cut into parts and they are divided. Remember that fraction bar is just another form of division. So you'll be hearing key words like divided. So they're asking which one has been divided into fourths. So now we're going to look quickly. A, this number line has not been cut at all. This is like getting a cake and not slicing it. This is like saying it's my birthday and I don't want to share. I'm taking the whole cake. You didn't cut it, so our denominator stays 1. This one can get tricky for some of you guys when we start doing other whole numbers. But when we don't cut the whole, the denominator of that bottom number always stays 1. And that's not what they asked for, so we're going to move on. B has been cut into how many parts? Can't hear you. It's been cut into 2, or what's the word? Halves. We've cut this one. That is not what they're asking for. C, do we have 4 parts here? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we get it wrong. Do not count from the 0. C is not correct. You count your jumps. You don't count the marks. You count your jumps. You don't count the marks. Count your jumps. You don't count count your jumps. Don't count the marks. So C would be incorrect. It's the jump. So this is actually 1, 2, and 3. So that is thirds, which leaves D. And based on our testing strategies, you would say, well, I'm picking D. Let's get it rolling. Let's just double check though, guys. You got time. So we're going to start at 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. D is correct. This number line has been cut into fourths. Again, if you have questions while I'm doing this, we are not live, so I cannot answer them, but you can email me. Let me know, guys. Let me know. All right, let's keep going. And I believe this is the last one. Oh, we got, no. Yes, it is. All right, great. So which fraction is represented by the total length marked on the number line shown? First step is to count your parts. What do the parts tell us? Our denominator. So let's count our parts. You can count the space or you can count the jumps. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are dealing with eighths. Eighths. Oh, the fraction words are kind of hard to say, guys. So we're dealing with eighths. That is our bottom number. That is our denominator. Let's get that vocab up. And now we got to find our numerator, which is the number we're considering, or the bar, the total length of bar from 0 to where it stops. So we're going to start here. We're going to jump 1, 2, 3. So that is our numerator. Our numerator is 3. Our denominator is in eighths. Our fraction is 3/8. And that is the lesson for Friday. Nice, short, and sweet. Go ahead and make sure you do that independent practice. If you're going to do it on paper, please just put your answers. If I give you 8 problems, I expect to see 8 answers on the text box, guys. Some of you are just writing one answer, and I'm not sure if we're just confused. But I will be reaching out to parents if they're not getting it. So I know some of you don't see your grades because we are blocking it. I don't want you to stress out about that. If I have issues or if I'm seeing that the students aren't participating, you will hear from me. So don't worry. I know some of you were concerned. If I haven't reached out, everyone's doing well. So finish up the work and do the exit step, and you are set to go for your weekend. I will see you guys back here Monday morning. Have a good weekend.